tomorrow show, 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 tomorrow show. Oh yeah. You got that singing. You gotta sing that live, right? You do that?
The Tomorrow Show.
Oh shit, that's probably good.
Woo! The Tomorrow Show.
That's awesome. Yo.
Yeah.
What's up?
Hello,
AC.
what's up?
What's happening, man?
Hi, Phoenix.
Oh,
Erin, hi.
yeah.
Sorry, I have to take care
Mike V right here. Erin D right there. My man AC over there. I guess over there. Over there. Little Phoenix. Hi, baby. Well, welcome to the Tomorrow Show. So it is November 20th. Can't believe the year is moving along quite so fast as it is. And yeah, kind of a low energy morning with a lot of bad news. So important that we do the Tomorrow Show because that's what it's all about. When you wake up with a face full of shitty news, how do you get through these trying times and stuff like that? So that's what our show's always been about, celebrating all the little things and letting them show their shine in your life and making sure that we don't underappreciate certain small parts of our lives that can be really actually beneficial to proactive mental health framing, empowerment for you and for the community. So
Yeah.
Hope for Us Network is here every other Sunday. The Tomorrow Show, live streaming with myself, Mike V, AC, Phoenix, Erin D, and our lovely pets, who I appreciate so much on a morning like this. Well, it's not morning anymore, but morning like this. Hey, baby, you little nugget. You see her? Can you see her? Yeah, zoom it in. Zoom that shit in. Hey, baby. Hi, Minnie. There's a little mini cam. She's in her bat blanket. Good girl.
Minnie.
Good girl. And AC and Phoenix all curled up, keeping cozy. It's cold as fuck, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're in Chicago.
I think we're having this wild cold snap, so it's really cold. But I think tomorrow's not supposed to be so cold. So it'll be more normal in like the 40s in Chicago. But
We got our show planned for you. What's up?
You're gonna start seeing people walk around with flip flops in the next couple days.
yeah,
I
right.
bet
They're
you-
like, oh, it's so warm.
Bet you money.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some nice temperature days coming up.
Not
Only in the 40s.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, man, we got our show planned for you all with our Searching for Goodness Riot Fest Night Edition, as promised from 2 weeks ago. We've got Nature's Amazing and So Are You, a segment from Erin D this week, Drying Herbs. And we've got a guest. We got a very special guest, Issa Pilgrim. Issa Pilgrim. Issa is an educator and activist. Kind of similar passions. Only they do it with a fierceness that's unmatched.
Yeah.
So can't wait to talk to them and get some insight there. What's up, everybody in the chat? And before we get into our segments and things, let's talk about what's going on. Current events, not the best today. Not the best today. So you wanna You want to get us started? I know you've kind of picked some stuff out.
Yeah, so it's the Trans Day of Remembrance. And, I think most people probably know that there was a shooting in Colorado at a place called Club Q, and they were gearing up for their drag brunch today, and and it was just a horrible
tragedy.
a horrible thing that happened last night. So yeah, and coincidentally or not, with Trans Day of Remembrance today. So
our little guy just plopped down right in my lap. He's cozy this morning, but yeah, Colorado Springs, Club Q, a shooter. Yeah, several people died. Last I checked, 4 or 5, and many more injured. And it's nice to see elected officials like the president or the governor of Colorado come out in support with statements of the LGBTQ plus community, but we got to be doing more. And
well, just remember too, as like cis and straight people, that it's really important to like talk about this stuff with other cis and straight people and not be silent about it, because you can break those stigmas.
Oh yeah, it's a powerful graphic right there.
Yeah. So can you go, I think the next one, the next little slide. So these are people that we've lost this year.
And by no means a definitive list. There's names on there that most likely have been forgotten by our society and the systems that tend to oppress and marginalize groups of people, be it Black, Jewish, or transgender, any number of other identities. So if you see some people going on with some hateful shit, talking about a woman's a woman this way, or a boy's a boy this way, or using slurs, or just being a dick. Come on, don't be a dick.
Yeah.
It's these little things that we tell you every show to look out for, to make you happy. A smile, a wave, being kind to people. Those things aren't just lip service, and they're not just like little like politenesses. They can really have a seismic shift if everybody's doing them.
Yeah, and I think like the more people that say that stuff publicly, the more people feel comfortable being able to say that stuff, and it just spreads this idea that it's all okay. So
hate is disgusting, and the levels of it we see these days in a polarized political system that we're all kind of subject to and kind of are required to participate in if we want it to be better. Let's get away from this hate. Let's call it out wherever we see it, and let's make sure that
let's go to the
talk
next
about this
part
stuff.
The next link there. Forget what it is. Oh yeah. So there are a lot of risk factors for trans people that raises their risk for suicide. So these are some of them. Lack proper identification. So like their names aren't even on their real name, or their gender markers are on their IDs.
Getting hassled about that shit.
The whole system, navigating that whole system and getting your name changed is not and your gender and all of that. It's not easy no matter where you live. So
most people would take that for granted and probably not think of that type of impact to your daily living. Just trying to be yourself and trying to
well, yeah, and then you have to like connect
be
that.
true to yourself.
You have to like connect that to the cops too. Like if they're like looking at your ID and that isn't like how you identify or who you are, imagine, what could happen. There's also a greater poverty percentage in the trans community. 45% have been verbally harassed recently. Yeah, people say the craziest things. I shouldn't say crazy, but the most wild things they think that they're allowed to say, even if they think it's like coming from a good place. Like, oh, you used to be a boy, you're so pretty, or like, I would never have known, or like, oh, you're trans, I couldn't tell, like weird shit like that. Like, just shut your mouth. So
well, verbal harassment too is like,
but then so like there's those
lingers.
there's like the smaller microaggressions that people think they're okay to say, and then there's like the big ones that you would think of,
and all of them, big and small, that verbal impact, like we shouldn't undervalue that. Like there is people that carry those things with them, and it can change the course of their day and then their week and maybe sometimes more, and that stuff can build up. And if you got no love around you from your family because they're doing the same shit, or no love at work because they're doing the same shit to you.
And like we live in a city and we're in a bubble and it feels pretty understanding most of the time. But I think many places in this country and world are not like that. So
not physical, to mention the trauma of being physically assaulted or feeling in danger like that.
Yeah.
Just because of your
percentage
identity
is so high. That's like horrifying.
I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah. So I think there's another slide.
These graphics are from the Trans Lifeline, also an invaluable organization that is doing life-saving work and being there for people to call.
10 times more likely to be incarcerated. Bullied as children,
being unhoused,
discriminated by health providers. Yeah, it's like that's another huge thing, is finding a place that you can get health care that is not only supportive but even understanding of what's going on. So
yeah, and we'll be talking more about lifelines and stuff like that a little later in the show with our guest. So yeah, read that to yourself.
And then I think they have a bunch of great peer support, people who love them and care for them.
There's a distinction between the people that are working to support the Trans Lifeline and like the more general 988 hotline that you can call. There could be just more comfort for you if you are somebody that doesn't feel like everybody always gets you, doesn't feel like people always understand you, or maybe you don't fit into the status quo of the day or your region or whatever. So consider Trans Lifeline for people who are trans and identify as trans, and other people that maybe just need to talk to somebody. So it's really important that we all come together on that. God damn it.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
This is the end of it was the Trans Awareness Week last week, and it goes right into the
Trans Day of Remembrance.
The Trans Day of Remembrance, yeah.
If you don't know anything about that shit, that's okay. If you don't know anybody who is trans, that's all right.
I guarantee you do.
Be open
I guarantee you
to
do.
meeting some people and like maybe learning about a different way of walking this earth. And you know, there's the whole internet out there, but be careful what kind of educational sources you're going with. So why don't you go to the Trans Lifeline website, use their resources.
Yeah, so
There you go.
So
Perfect, right?
I love that we have like these trans causes up there.
Yeah.
Brave Space Alliance, transequality.org, and the Trevor Project. Yeah, GLAD is really great.
The outwardsarchive.org is where you can get some like legit transgender history. There's some great podcasts out there.
Oh my gosh, so many.
Holy
but
shit.
another thing that you can do is look up mutual aid funds in your community, and that is like, you know, really micro to your community.
Yeah.
That you can donate to, which is really cool.
Helping your at-risk community, you are helping the trans community, you're helping other marginalized communities. Mutual aid is always a good investment of your time, your resources. It's the only way that you can kind of push back against the systems that kind of exclude people.
Yeah.
Is to include and take anything that you have extra to help and make it part of the community, helping each other. That's pretty cool when you really break it down. So more mutual aid stuff coming from the network too. So pay attention for that. We have a series of lifelines up there. So
yeah, I love that.
As you can tell,
all these other ones now.
Yeah, so there's very specialized networks out there, and we like to connect those dots with y'all. Trevor Project, incredible. They have like a text line, they have a phone line, they have a website supported chat that just tons of great things. And I don't know much about True Colors, but if it's up there, I know it's good.
And if you, a big, huge thing that you can do that was in the previous slides was just asking someone's pronouns. If you just kind of get in the habit of being like, what are your pronouns when you're like meeting somebody? Just like that, just real chill, then you know, and you don't have to wonder.
Yeah. And people that like try to make a joke out of the pronouns thing, you may have seen some of that shit online or whatever. Fuck them. They are scared of change, and they're scared of people having equal opportunity and rights. And when you think about it that way, that's kind of fucked up, isn't it? So let's take care of each other and, you know, share what we can.
So then, so there's a person I really love, Alok.
Alok's awesome.
Yeah. So
I found Alok after you showed it to me, and then we were watching Jonathan Van Ness's show
on Netflix.
Getting Curious.
With Jonathan and they have Alok on there.
Alok was on as a guest, and just really
they're another a non-binary activist, and I don't know, frequently just lays it out. But every time I watch a video that they have, it makes me think differently. So let's play that, and then we can talk about it.
Because it presumes that there's a particular way to look cis. When we say passing, we re-entrench or reinscribe the idea that what we associate with cisness just belongs to cisness, not that trans people have always looked like that. We have to unlearn this idea that like cisness is the prototype or the default, or that cisness like owns masculinity or owns femininity, which is not true. So many of the aesthetics that we associate with quote unquote like normative masculinity and femininity were actually templated by trans and gender non-conforming people historically. So many of our makeup trends, who were the women wearing pants first, like so many things that we now think of as like traditional gender, trans and gender non-conforming people were part of that story of creation. I struggle with the language of passing because it presumes that there.
Yeah, what do you guys think of that? Like
the notions of what it like. Can you ask that question?
Yeah, what do you think about what they say about the notions of like passing as like a trans person, or what it means to be like masculine or feminine.
Well, I think I'll go first, but I think there's these boxes, right, of male and female ideas or like appearances that I was taught growing up, not explicitly necessarily.
Yeah, like what's like an example that you're thinking of?
You know, blue and pink being these the baby colors for a baby that's a boy and a baby that's a girl, right?
Mhm.
Gender reveal parties. Burliness for dudes and like daintiness for ladies, like these very caricature binaries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you have two choices, but they're not really a choice. You're putting like one of two categories, right? But
born into it. Yeah.
yeah, it's assigned male or female at birth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me, it's interesting when people feel the need to point out, oh, that person is trans, but they you know, they look totally like a dude. And it's like, or the other side of that coin, they look totally like a lady. Why do we have to can we just like feel our vibe? Can we like, you know, do our thing and wear our shit and shave our head or whatever, do whatever you need to do to feel kind of comfortable in your own skin, because this world is so incredibly difficult as it is. You don't really need people policing your appearance, but
yeah, well, it's like it's all
I feel like a teenager again when I think like that, though, because me and my dad, even though I'm, you know, I don't identify as trans. I don't, you know, identify as non-binary. My pronouns are he, him. I didn't like fit what my dad's idea of masculinity or being an upstanding citizen even looked like, right? I was into grunge. Did you like Nirvana? I liked Nirvana. I would wear ripped jeans and flannels, and then I was into hippie music, so I would wear like tie dyes and ripped ass jeans or hemp necklaces
and your
and
hair
stuff.
was
My
long.
hair was long, and Dad, you know, took a job. What's up?
And throw football helmets at coaches.
Yeah. I was a hothead too, so like I didn't fit anywhere. I was like this weird mixture of things where my like high school popularity contest told me that like I didn't fit in one of the groups. I was in too many of the groups. So that, you know, you get that in your head. You're like, well, I guess where do I belong? And then, you know, your parents' idea of what you should, what box you should be kind of being inside of.
Mm-hmm.
Like my dad took a job to support us. It was sales, and he learned through those actions that you gotta fit in this box.
Like that's how you're a man. Is that what
that's
you're
how
saying?
you're a man?
Yeah.
So, and you know, like I fought against that. Like that was our main conflict growing up.
I just think it's for. I feel like for my age, I've seen it all, and I think it's like I think it's messed up in a weird way because they'll call girls. Like I remember, I don't know if they do it anymore, but I remember when I was growing up, they called girls tomboys if they like to like, you know what I mean? If they like to like,
your generation had tomboys, yeah.
If they
that's like my identity.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's like yeah. Sorry, AC, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's like absolutely like how I was like qualified as a kid. And like, because I like played basketball and I hung out with boys and I like didn't do like all the usual things that little girls do. Like I did a lot of everything. And and then I didn't know that I didn't grow up in a time that there was like an option. Like I didn't grow up with a non-binary option. So then, in my freaking 30s, I'm like, oh, there's an option. And like retrospectively looking back, I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. Like I like made up a boy name for myself. I like didn't like that I was a girl. So that looking back on that now, I'm like, oh. And luckily I didn't have parents that forced me into those boxes. Like my dad grew up with sisters and mostly his mom. So he didn't have a boxed in idea of what a girl or a woman would be. And my mom didn't either. And so, like they let me play with boy toys and they let me play with girl toys, and my brother too. Like they didn't do that. And I think part of that is because it was the 80s and a lot of parents were trying to break out of that. And there was a lot of advertising trying to break out of that. And then we kind of backpedaled that a little bit. But yeah, I think like I was a tomboy. And so then you're like, well, what does that even mean? And then then you have to ask yourself, like, why isn't there sort of why isn't there a nickname for boys who are like,
oh, they're mean though.
They're a lot worse. So it's like all of that stuff is it's just ridiculous constructs, and
I think you nailed it, AC, with tomboy. Like I think that's like, it says a lot right there, because a lot of people can relate to its usage.
Yeah. And I think that with the gender binary, I think there's like a lot of stuff that people in all groups just can't really let go of. And they uphold those systems that are oppressive.
Sure.
And yeah, just because they're like trying so hard to like look a certain way. And I think that sometimes in the LGBTQ community that can happen a lot. So yeah, it's a really it's pretty amazing that we're starting to like unbuild that though, that gender binary. And all that's going to mean is that more people can feel comfortable with themselves and more people are going to have more freedom. Like that's what it like comes down to, is that they're going to be happier. Everybody is going to be happier. But
yeah, it's the hope. AC, were you going to say more about tomboy?
Yeah.
I was, but it's weird. We can move on. It's fine.
Well, I would say that like if you think about just a kid like myself who was like, very much like into sports and like a lot of things that would be considered masculine, like it was still hard for me to still feel like, oh, don't dress like a grunge rocker, or don't dress like a hippie, or don't have long hair. And so I would butt heads with other men in my life that were older than me, that were supposed to be like kind of giving me guidance and stuff, right? Like my dad, because we'd just be pissed at each other about it.
Yeah, well, sure.
Well, and the football coach that AC knows this story, that like I threw my helmet at, like it was just, he called me a burnout, or he called me a hippie, and he just called me names one too many times, and I fucking snapped about it, because it chips away at you, people telling you you can't be like this, you can't be like this, you can't be like this. You're left being like, well, what the fuck can I be then? Like, what can I do to make you happy? And that's a fool's errand that you don't usually kind of realize until you're older, and you're like, well, fuck all of them, you know?
Yeah.
But
Well,
that's not like a, you know, something everybody can do because they feel threatened.
Well, some people don't have a choice. Like
exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like their safety.
But they also don't have a choice to not show who they are. Like they don't have a choice. Like it is so painful. That's what people don't understand, I think, like cis straight people. It is so painful for certain trans individuals to be passing, right? That it is detrimental to them in many ways.
Right.
So like forcing them to be a certain way, forcing children to be a certain way, is just, it's just bad. There's like no positives.
Sure.
I don't even know how they can I don't even know how these people making these legislations about trans kids in sports can even like make an argument that that's going to protect them, right? Protect kids. So it's like it's absolutely wild. But like what I think is interesting in your story isn't all of this in high school. I think it's that anytime I see her grandma, she says, Mike was such a sweet boy. And like there's pictures of Mike like holding his bears and like feeding them a bottle, right? And that's okay for like a 3-year-old boy, but like when does that become like not okay in people's heads, right? Like when is it that like, yeah, they can't do that anymore? And so it's a very deep conversation and topic, and it is kind of never ending.
You could have a whole gender extravaganza special.
But I definitely encourage people to look inside themselves and think about those things and question their own internal biases and judgments. And
hell yeah, feed stuffed animals milk.
Yeah.
You know, it's nice to, be maternal. Feed a
maternal, well. Caring. I don't know.
It's nice to be.
You know what I'm saying?
Caring. Yeah. Not to be confused with
paternal. Caring. Yeah. So.
Yeah, for sure. And look up Alok. Alok's got a lot more thought-provoking content to get your wheels turning.
Yeah, there's zingers in there. But that's the only way to do it these days. So.
Well, and like this is gonna probably sound like a total cis heteronormative thing to say, but I just fucking love when people embrace their style that's completely unique unto them. And like JVN and Alok are like two people that I think of immediately that like their mashup of what people consider men and women's clothing in their style, or men and women's jewelry, or men and women's hair, or men and women's nails. That kind of mashup's so dope because like I know when I first met AC, I was like, this dude's got like such a crazy mashup of styles going on. Like
yeah, AC comes from a lot of intersections.
Yeah, man. Like I remember thinking you were the most stylish cat I'd ever met when I first met you. I was like, this is so different. I don't know. I don't know if you know that.
Here's one for you. Something that's like something that's somewhat very socially acceptable today is something that kids like me growing up used to get beat up and picked on for, was wearing nail polish. Wearing fingernail, like definitely, back then it was weird and not cool. Like I said, I got picked on. I knew other kids that got picked on. Definitely had got beaten up over it. You know what I mean? Or like funny looks as you roll into a diner, like if you're playing a weird town, Yeah. Nowadays, like it's very much more accepted than what it was when I was growing up.
Yeah, and it's like such a small thing, but people freak out. Yeah, so anyway,
Yeah.
Freak
So
out.
one other bit of current news that we wanted to like bring up just to honor them is that we got news right before we started the stream today that the Green Ranger, the actor that played the original Power Rangers Green Ranger, has died much too early. He's only 49, and you know, that kind of thing sucks. They're not 100% clear on the details at the moment, but there are some reports that are saying he died by suicide. And you know, we're losing far too many people in America and across the globe every single day to suicide. And you do a lot of good by talking about why that stuff is happening and having those conversations about people being marginalized or oppressed or more likely to have violence, you know, kind of cast against them and stuff like that. If you talk about those things, you start to bring them into the light. You start to give them some air, and we can start to heal those things. But right now, our society does not address the very obvious inequities that are causing a lot of people to feel desperate, to feel hopeless, and in a lot of tragic circumstances to take their own lives. So we want to make sure that we remind people to use language like died by suicide or completed suicide. If you say committed suicide or killed themselves, it's not the end of the world, but these are language that have like stigma woven through them, criminalizing the act, like murderers kill people, or, you know, criminals commit crimes, so committed, killed. If you just change the way you think about people that we lose to suicide, you can be an incredibly more supportive ally to those people that are experiencing the pain of the loss. You know, it's part of health, and we need to reframe our understanding of that to empower people to be proactive about their mental health, prevent people to get to the crisis. So thank you everybody that shared or liked or whatever our TikTok, where I was talking about the concealment gap and concealment culture. Keep pushing those things out into your networks, keep connecting the dots and letting people know to have hope, and that there are many, many people out there willing to come together as a community and support talking openly about these things. You just got to find them. Digital communities are pretty dope as well. So.
Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is Thanksgiving next week. So this is another pretty deep topic, but specifically I want to talk about the fact that the Indigenous community will call it Thanks-taking. So if you put in #Thanks-taking, you can look up a lot of like takes on this, which is helpful. But basically
takes from Indigenous people, correct?
Yeah, so Thanksgiving kind of like it misrepresents Native people, and it whitewashes like American history, right? So it wasn't what we like to say it was. And it's important to Indigenous communities to just be more aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of ways that you can do that. So some people decide to not celebrate Thanksgiving at all, and it's a day of mourning, and they don't feast. Other people sort of do a spin on it, and they're like, well, you know, just make sure that you're like talking about these things with your family, and you're being grateful. So there's a lot of a lot of that. But yeah, so I think, let's see. Yeah, this was funny. What are you doing for Thanksgiving? Listening to Native people, working in solidarity with Native women, Two-Spirit, and LGBTQ people. Yeah, so I loved this little illustration.
That's great.
So these are some things that you can do where you like acknowledge the land that you're on, and sharing the history of the land that you occupy. You're educating your family and the people around you about that. You're not just ignoring it and brushing it under the rug. So yeah, that's a good one. And then yeah, this was cool. I saw this. This is a therapist who I think works with kids mostly.
Yeah.
But yeah, talks about listening to Native people, and then like the cultural significance of turkey is kind of cool. Like it says, why do turkeys represent Thanksgiving? Turkeys were an abundant food source for Native people. They did not have beef or chicken. They had turkey, fish, elk, deer, etc. Use this as a time to learn about the Native food sources and why those are often included in Thanksgiving. And I thought that was...
Yeah, that's dope.
So yeah, yeah, don't wear pilgrim hats. For God's sake, don't ever wear Indian feathers or headdresses. Like, why do I even have to say this? Yeah, so focus it on those that Native history, and don't whitewash things.
At the risk of sounding insensitive too, the whitewashed history is boring as fuck. Boring fucking shit. And the Native history is so dope.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, so fascinating, so intertwined with a respect and appreciation for nature. Yeah. Insensitive? Maybe.
I mean,
I don't care. I really don't care.
Yeah. Let me look at one more thing here. There's like language that you can avoid. This was a good one. Okay. I'll have to share that on my stories.
Language is powerful.
Like, don't say own or owners of people or land. No one own or owns it. And don't just talk about the past, like put it into a contemporary context. So yeah, I don't know. This is a more...
Do you mean like when you say that, put it in contemporary context to like explain
like where are those people?
Situation?
Yeah. So yes. Like, so if you're talking about
reservation
land,
stuff like that.
Yeah. If you're talking about like land acknowledgements, like we are on this land, wherever you're having Thanksgiving or something. Where are those original people? Like where are they now? This says, if you are a settler, how does your organization or community participate in the original stewards' continued displacement today? So that's very hard for people, but like...
For sure. I think the big point,
those
though,
kind of things are important.
Knowledge. Knowledge is power. Don't just like be fed certain things and accept them.
And like your kids, like if you're worried about your kids being exposed to these things, like they're totally going to be fine. Believe me. I learned about this stuff when I was very young. So just like it's not going to be bad. Tell them the truth. They deserve it.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
If Black and brown kids can learn about it and be very personally affected by it, then so can white children.
Right. Get uncomfortable. It's probably the best thing for us as we try to forge ahead for a better future. And remember the things that get you through to tomorrow too, because like when you're processing all this intense information, the historical context of Thanksgiving, Transgender Remembrance Day, and the tragedies that have happened, let's and all the people that we lose to suicide each and every day. Just remember that, like, these little things like snuggling Phoenix, these little things like enjoying your Bob Ross mug with the nice steamy liquid, all of these little tiny things are going to help kind of offset it. Think of that plus and minus, and how you can kind of use the power of the plus to get back to kind of like feeling okay. All right. With every little thing that you do. The things that have been getting me through: music. I'm so excited to share the Riot Fest night edition as promised.
We get goofy.
It's a night edition, folks. It's a night edition, and we had been very graciously awarded VIP bracelets, so we weren't actually buying our drinks. So,
AC, what's been getting you through? Real quick. That guy. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look
buddy.
at, he's such a good boy.
Yeah. Phoenix.
I didn't get it on the day that it came out because I'm saving money.
Oh, I know what you're gonna say.
But I'm very excited about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And if you have any opinions about which one I should get, please share them with me, because I need this. I can't decide, and I just haven't played Pokemon since Pokemon Silver. I know.
Do you know Pokemon, AC?
No, I don't.
Yeah, me neither.
You guys are like,
we're too old.
You're like kind of too old.
We're kind of too old, bro.
That's not true, because I know some people around my age that play.
That's true. I shouldn't generalize.
No, yeah, I just know that my brother is like Mike's age, and he was like, "That's dumb," because he had just gotten into high school when I got first Pokemon. So
you get an emulator, babe. Get that Pokemon emulator. You play them all like Scramsky, because he's a smart boy.
The Paradox Pokemon are futuristic, but Scarlet is cool because they're ancient. I know, like primordial Pokemon, that's pretty fun. So that's me as a Pokemon, like crawling out of ooze, by the way. But
what was the thing not too long ago?
Pokemon Go.
Like the craze where everybody was outside.
Yeah. People have the app, and they're like, going to businesses and shit to capture Pokemon.
So fun.
What is happening? And like, unfortunately, like people not paying attention and like walking into traffic and getting hit, or like walking off. Like, what's happening?
I think it'd be hilarious for us to stream Pokemon with a couple fellas like me and you that don't have a fucking clue what's going on.
That would be.
Mike, there's one on your shoulder.
So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. But I need advice because it's been a while. So I need to know all the ins and outs.
That's so awesome.
It'll be pretty fun.
Is Pokemon hard sci-fi or historical sci-fi? That's a good question, Jer. Hard sci-fi or historical sci-fi?
I don't know.
Mull that one over.
That's funny.
Oh, look at all the Pokemons, dude. Look at all of them.
I mean, I want to go with Violet because that's like my favorite color, but that seems so silly.
Well, how about that?
It seems pretty fun.
Looks pretty fun.
It's like open world. It's the first open world one. So.
First open world one, huh?
All right,
You want to get going with
this took longer than I thought it would. So let's.
What's important? We had a lot of news to process that we just got this morning. So you want to get on to the Riot Fest?
Let's embarrass ourselves, and then
Before we go to Riot Fest, before we go searching for goodness, I want to plug that AC has a show coming up. What are you doing Friday, December 2nd? What are you doing? Burley, that's what. So the locals, if you follow the locals on Instagram, you would have been treated to this in your feed over the past week, and it made me smile. I went back and looked at it several times. That's our boy AC behind his kit, playing drums for the locals. Burlington, December 2nd. So that's the Friday before we return with our next show. And I think our next show is wrapping up almost.
Yeah.
Almost. We got like 2 more shows after this.
Yeah.
Before the holiday break. So that's exciting. Go see AC at the Burlington in Logan Square. It's gonna be awesome. You got
Early.
anything to add, AC?
It's gonna be fun. I can't believe it's already happening. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna play some songs.
You guys haven't played for a little while, right?
Yeah, we haven't played since probably the summer, maybe.
Oh hell yeah.
We got a new bass player, so
Oh man, hell yeah.
I may or may not be playing a new drum set for this show.
Shit, sorry,
A
everyone.
new drum set? Drummies?
Yep, I got 3 of them now. Trying to have 4.
Damn, dude.
Sometimes
You know what?
when
I
it's
look
like
at it.
does that.
I look at it like, guitar players have so many guitars. Like
Yeah, why
drummers
can't
only
I have all the drum kits?
why can't I have a bunch of drum sets? So I got 3 right now. I'm gonna try and have another one by this time next year, because why not?
That's sick collection. Sick collection.
Well,
You got cool shit, man. You got cool shit. What do you say? Let's go searching for goodness. Hit it, Scott. So last week we gave you a little tour of a virtual field trip to Riot Fest in Douglas Park, North Lawndale area of Chicago. Me and Erin D got some passes from our friends in Treaty of Paris. AC had been there the previous Friday, so he told us where to go for the VIP tent, like right off the bat. So, it was like 12 noon, 1 o'clock when we found the VIP area, very beginning of the day, and realized that we didn't have to pay for drinks that day. So I will also give you a heads up, because you got to prepare yourself for this. You'll see us be a little bit tipsy, but you're also going to experience an Ice Cube concert from the top of a Ferris wheel.
Spoilers.
Well, I just don't want people to go changing the channel. You know what I'm saying? Okay. You want to stick around for this shit. You know what I'm saying? So let's do this. Let's go to Riot Fest Night Edition.
Previously on Searching for Goodness.
You sound like something.
Someone to help me ease my pain. Someone holding
What a delightful collection of people. Right?
You don't see him? No.
It makes me happy.
That's well.
He might go over there.
We've never been on a Ferris wheel together.
A shot.
Yeah.
A shot.
A shot.
Look at those things. You see that?
Hey, babe.
Look at all those.
Do you know the first time you were on a Ferris wheel?
First time I was on a
Yeah,
Ferris
like,
wheel.
can you remember? I can't.
First time I was on a Ferris wheel, I do declare. I do declare. I don't know.
Ah, that makes me sick. Ah!
Oh man, I used to love getting dizzy.
That's the one we hope to go on someday. It's gonna be awesome. We're gonna get Domino's pizzas after. I can't think of anybody else that would have asked for Superfly to be played. It's kind of perfect. We're almost there, folks. Delta World's still rocking. So badass. Superfly.
Get ready to see Ice Cube on a motherfucking Ferris wheel.
Oh, thanks, man.
Oh my god, we're going to the yellow. Hold this. Give it back.
It's already like rocking.
Oh my god, look out there. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Oh my god, we're above it all, babe.
Cheering.
I do hear them cheering. That's the ride stage right there, folks. Ice Cube is about to start. What do you think about hearing Ice Cube on a Ferris wheel? You get to see Ice Cube on a Ferris wheel. Yeah, yeah. Pretty smash, babe. beautiful? It's so amazing! Oh my god, so fucking cool. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh boy, it's fucking awesome. Hey, we got to see Ice Cube! You scared? Who's scared?
Nigga, you was dollar. Take the bite, take the bite, take the white, take the bite, take a hot, take a cut, bitch, ain't never go. Nigga ain't never go.
Fucking awesome!
Come on, somebody say hell yeah.
Hell yeah!
Hell yeah. Oh shit. Look at these niggas without a clue. I do. Look at these niggas without a clue. Come on. I start this gangsta shit. And this the motherfucking thanks I get. Home, around me. Ain't no stopping the police. Ain't no stopping the G. I'm in the six, you better hop with the three. Ain't no six, properly, I talk to keep properly. The guy trying to pop a collar. If you get it, you can go. You can pop up. Be your ball. Put it up like a free nigga. You a scholar. Take the right, take the right, take the right, take the right, take the heart. I'm a hard boy. On court, you make up. But don't follow.
Yeah! That was so fun! Oh my God, dude. I was freaking out.
You sure were.
What'd you think? What'd you think, buddy?
I can't ride on a Ferris wheel with all those free drinks that they give you in VIP.
Yeah.
I can't. Me personally, I can't do it. I don't know how y'all did it, but I can't. I'm old now, so like I have to be. If I'm side stage, I gotta be next to the stairs to get to the bathrooms. If I'm out in the crowd, I gotta be close to back. Moscow Mules. That Ferris wheel though was sick. That was pretty sick.
Like the placement of the Ferris wheel by the Ice Cube performance, pretty clutch.
Yeah, well, that you could see like the other stage too, and then the city was really cool.
So awesome.
I'm all in this blanket now. I'm like the opposite, Erin.
You were cold.
It
You
was
were cold. It's cold.
It's cold.
You like a tilt-a-whirl? You like getting dizzy, dude?
No.
Tilt-a-whirls are cool. I'll mess with a tilt-a-whirl.
Oh,
Get
interesting.
dizzy in it real quick.
Ugh.
Get dizzy
Did
real
you
quick.
did you see that she pierced my ear during the
I
day?
didn't pierce your ear.
She didn't pierce my ear. She put it through my old ear piercing hole. She had a safety pin, and there was a safety pin hanging
It
from
was
my
an earring that looked like a safety pin.
Oh, sorry. An earring that looks like a safety pin.
I'm not 14.
It felt like we were 14. Hey.
It did.
Hey, so real quick, can I ask you? Can we ask AC about Ice Cube?
No, because Ice Cube is. You can't talk about Ice Cube. He's too great.
Oh, okay, fair.
No,
That's
I'm
fair.
just kidding. No, what? What's up?
What
you got?
What do you have a favorite Ice Cube like album or movie or both?
I mean, that's it. That's not fair.
Okay.
America's
fair,
Most Wanted. That's a good record. And then
All right.
Death Certificate, Kill It Will. That was a good EP. I mean, everything he does is great. It's Ice Cube.
True. It's true.
The dude can't do anything wrong. And even the things that he does do wrong, which isn't often, they're still perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Ice Cube, O'Shea Jackson. He's a god. He's legendary. He wrote the greatest diss track of all time, No Vaseline.
Yep.
He wrote
True.
almost all the lyrics for like Eazy-E. You know what?
Yeah.
I had enough of your stuff today. You settle down.
Take it easy, Ice Cube.
He's amazing.
We always see Ice Cube looking over your shoulder on Sign of the Times, so
Yeah.
I figured like you'd be the guy to ask.
Yeah, I got the poster because he's the greatest. You know, he's done it all. If there were no Ice Cube, there would be no rapper that a lot of people know as Del the Funky Homo Sapien or Deltron 3030. There would be no Souls of Mischief or the Hieroglyphics crew without Del or without Ice Cube. Del is Ice Cube's cousin.
Oh, I didn't know that.
When
There you go.
Ice Cube found out he could rap, he was like, dude, why don't you, I'm in the game, why don't you do this? And like put him on. And he didn't try and change him either, because as many of you out there that know Del from his older work, Deltron or Del the Funky Homo Sapien, or the stuff that he's done with the Gorillas, Del is like an indie rapper. He's different, Ice Cube didn't try and change it. Wasn't like, yo, why don't you do this gangster stuff, Just Ice Cube just let him be who was, and I mean, Della's also a huge part of, hip hop culture, in the community. And then like the movies, I mean, truthfully, like he was like, don't get me wrong, there were like movies that had rappers back in the day. You know what I mean? Like you had your New Jack Cities, you had your Breakin', you had those old school like movies, but he was like the first one that really like put it out there to let rappers, if you will, be like, you can do something other than rapping. You can bridge out. John Singleton put him in Boys in the Hood, which was like one of the biggest movies ever, which led to him being in Higher Learning, and then him doing his own movie, Friday, which is like one of the biggest movies of all time. It's like such a stoner cult classic. Friday, next Friday, Friday after that, Barbershop. Went into like kid flicks. Like, are we there yet?
He's transcended it all, man.
Like he's done
Ain't
it.
keeping it in a box.
He does whatever he wants. Like it's Ice Cube, the dude. Seriously, and for those of you that have not seen the NWA movie, go see it. Because I can tell you, being a fan of Ice Cube and NWA and rap hip hop music, a lot of that movie, a lot of that stuff that you see in that flick is 100% true. Like there's sorry, spoiler alert, but there's a scene where Cube goes up into the office of what was it? I want to say it was like Priority Records at the time. It was like, yo, what's up on this money? Asking, the people in the office, the exec, like, yo, where's my money for these records? Like, I bought a house and I did this and I got a kid coming. And the only reason why I bought this house and did this was, because you told me, I was getting money. I went off the strength of your word. And, and he's like, you'll get it on the next record, Cube, or whatever. So, Ice Cube leaves, and in the movie, he comes back, and he's like, yo, you don't have my money? And destroyed the dude's office. Destroyed it. Baseball bat, everything, destroyed. Plaques on the walls, tables, plants, chairs, whatever you name it. Destroyed it. Like, he was a real dude like that. Like, he smashed up the office. What was not in the movie, which I saw Ice Cube actually talk about, was because he talked about that scene, and when he went back to that office to have a meeting and collect his check, protocol to get into that building had changed drastically. They had like a sign in, they had security right up front. You had to get buzzed in. Like once you got buzzed in, you had to get buzzed in like to another office. And then like once like you got into his office, like I guess the dude changed everything, like made everything like anything was in his office was like not breakable anymore. Like things that could be like smashed up were like not expensive, But I mean, it's Ice Cube. He's done it all.
We salute you, Ice Cube.
He just recently he got asked to do a movie with Jack Black about a year ago. I don't know what his status is now, but I know at the time he was not vaccinated and was offered like ridiculous amounts of money. I think it was millions of dollars to do this movie with Jack Black in Hawaii or something. And he turned it down. He didn't.
Oh my gosh, Phoenix!
He's adorable, right? He's
so
adorable.
Cute.
But yeah, he turned it down, and I guess whatever you want to do, that's up to you. But I gotta hand it to somebody that they're that strong in their beliefs that they would be willing to pass up $5 million.
Yeah, that's crazy.
A lot of money. That's a lot of money.
I don't think I'd do that.
That's a lot of money. Also, that opening track when he came out to in Riot Fest, that Natural Born Killer song.
Yeah.
That was, I want to say that was the first reunion collaboration between him and Dre from when, Cube had parted ways from NWA and they broke up and they had the whole beef and everything and they weren't talking.
Yeah.
When they finally got back together, I do believe that was the first track that they did together. I think Dre produced that also.
It was hype, man. It was a really great show, and obviously, I had a great time. Yeah. Well, thanks for the additional background on
Yeah, that
Ice
was
Cube.
cool.
I could go on for hours about Ice Cube. He's the greatest.
I bet you could, man. Well, so we have a guest and we have nature left. What would you like to do? Would you like to get Lisa out here? And...
No, let's do nature real fast.
Okay.
So it's 6 minutes. Let's do it.
It is a quick little hit.
Just do it.
Yeah, let's go nature time. Let's go nature.
Nature is amazing and so are you.
I like that jam.
Yeah.
Scott just picking out killer music all day, every day.
So I just have to show you this little nugget here.
That was great. That was great and informative, honey.
Yeah.
We've got some
So
questions in the
yeah.
chat.
So thank you. I thank you for saying I did a good job putting it together. I haven't edited a video for a long time. But to answer your question, Scramsky, do plants grow back after being trimmed for drying, or do you need to start a new seed the following spring? So the yarrow that I had come back. One of the times had come back, and the parsley had come back.
So it's kind of a crapshoot.
So it kind of depends. It gets really, really cold here. So in Texas, you might be able to have herbs all year round. But here it gets so cold sometimes that frost will kill the root. But sometimes, or depending on the plant, maybe it'll come back. It'll start growing again. So
Resilient.
it depends, I think. There are things you can do to winterize your garden. I think I did a video of that last year where you can pack it with wood chips.
Pack it
or
with some
hay.
chips.
Like hay or wood chips, and that might help the roots not freeze as much.
Can you bundle them up in a blanket or a burlap sack?
You can, but you can also put them into your garage or your basement, but you have to remember to still water them.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, it's weird. You're basically watering a dead plant so that it'll come back in the spring.
Question number 2.
Yeah.
Does it smell nice from Snyder?
It does smell nice.
Do you have a favorite smelling herb, or you just love them all?
I think rosemary. What about you?
I'm a sucker for. I know this is like a generic lavender. I like.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people think of that when they think of calming fragrances
Herbs
and stuff like that.
yeah.
Almost like the free bird of essential oils.
Yeah.
But I don't care. I don't care.
The pineapple mint that we got this year was really good.
That shit was great.
Yeah.
All right. Cedar bark. Yeah. Mulch. That works.
Yeah. So you can put that over all your plants
Good tip.
during the winter, and that might help. But yeah, in Texas, I feel like you could just keep it going. They'd probably go through sort of a small dormancy, but yeah.
Pineapple mint. Pretty badass.
Yeah, pineapple mint. It was.
We got that up at
What is AC's favorite herb?
My favorite plant is the one from Little Shop of Horrors.
AC's favorite herb is Mary Jane.
It's not patchouli, and I didn't know you have patchouli, so I was like, that's insane. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Favorite herb? Basil.
Oh yeah.
Basil. Yeah, I mean it's pretty much.
That's actually a really good segue.
Yeah. It really is.
Issa has a gecko whose name is Basil.
Issa does have a gecko named Basil who is extremely beautiful looking.
Yeah.
Should we get them on here?
Yeah. Yeah. So Issa Pilgrim is one of my best friends. They are an educator in multiple ways. They're a deaf ed teacher and a former foster parent, pet parent. They're frequently seen at the Capitol being an activist for trans kids' rights in Texas.
Also making it more accessible, signing for the deaf community at those protests and things, which
a little. They don't do too much translating.
Oh, okay.
Friends of theirs do.
Well, my bad.
Yeah,
but
yeah. They make me a better person. They teach me lots of good tips on on therapy tools, and boundaries.
Good
Boundary
shit.
queen, yeah. Yeah, I love them. So yeah, let's bring on Issa.
Issa!
Hi.
Here I am. Hello.
Here you are.
Hi.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, is that great?
Mhm.
Are we good? I can't hear y'all now.
Oh, weird.
Hi.
Really? You can't hear us shouting at you, going, hi.
Hi.
I can't hear you.
Weird.
Can you hear me?
I can't
No?
hear anyone.
No.
Can't hear any of us.
Settings, audio tab.
Check. Come on, check. Let's go, check. Sometimes it changes your output. What? Goodness. Well, we'll see if we can get that figured out. I don't think there's anything that we can do, can we? We can just talk about Issa while they're trying to figure it out. I know that it would be ideal to hear us. Still nothing? Maybe go out and come back in?
No, my audio totally went away.
You know, that's what I do, is I'd go back out and come back in, I guess.
But she
Ideal.
can't hear you.
I know she can't hear me. I know she can't hear me say that, but hopefully someone typing it in the chat. Typing it in the chat. Maybe refresh. Yeah, it's unfortunate. But in times like these, it's important
I'm going to figure it out, y'all.
we will figure it out. We'll keep trying. We'll maybe refresh.
My favorite herb is basil.
Are they? They're seeing the private chat, probably. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe go out and come back in. Sometimes Chrome blocks access. Yeah, you know. Technology. So helpful, and yet oftentimes.
Oh my gosh, I never use it.
So
my audio everywhere went away, on a different.
That's so weird.
Technology is
on a different
dumb.
tab.
Well,
I'm working it out, y'all. Don't worry.
I mean, they need to be able to hear us because we've got tons of things
Chair.
to discuss.
Cheer help.
Things to discuss.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
so-
that helps.
I wonder if they can hear
So
us
it
if they're
goes.
off screen.
Does that help?
Could you hear us when you were off screen? Can you hear us now?
Hey.
Hey.
Oh.
The dance with the pants. Don't want it to be stressful.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But yeah, we want to be able to ask them questions. Important topics to discuss.
The question.
AC, have you ever met Issa?
No.
When they came to Chicago to visit?
I don't know if I
Where?
don't know.
They came to Chicago to visit a few years ago. They're going to probably come back sometime in the coming year.
I don't think I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know if that happened either. Do you want the iPad?
Yeah, so they're partners in the chat.
Jared's their partner, also a really, really wonderful person.
We'll have him on.
Yeah, we'll be having him on
probably the beginning
in
of
the
next
new year,
season,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got 2 more episodes coming up, and then we're going to have a whole new half a season in 2023. Bunch of new guests, bunch of new shenanigans and segments. We also got Art Gives Us Hope coming up. That'll be really great.
Yeah.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out last year's stream on our YouTube. You can use the shorthand exclamation VOD for all those YouTube videos, so you can get that in your feed. And when you're kind of looking for something to watch, you can pop on an old episode of the Tomorrow Show. Some of our great past guests.
Where can they see those?
They can see those on YouTube. They can see those on. You can see clips on TikTok. Lots of cool TikTok stuff. We got a private chat if you want to check that, honey. But yeah, like essentially, it's going to be a similar vibe as the previous year. It's just going to be like reimagined to keep it fresh. Probably some longer streams happening. A whole lot of different people, talented people showing off their self-expression, paintings, digital art, all that sort of thing. Do you remember that?
Get even closer to her.
Do you remember that even the other the 3D gallery that we had? Yeah?
Hi,
Can you hear us?
you?
Yay!
We can hear you.
Yeah, we did it.
Celebration.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all.
Hi, Issa. So glad we were able to work it out.
Me too. I panicked.
Yeah.
How are you today?
I'm all right. I had a massage this afternoon,
What?
which was lovely, and now I'm chilling. I'm off work all week.
Yes.
So avoiding the Sunday scaries because I don't have to do anything tomorrow.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
That's cool.
That sounds nice.
AC, this is our friend Issa.
I'm
This is
certainly
our friend
that.
yeah, well, reintroductions just in
Hey.
case.
Hello.
Yeah, we're so glad you're here. You've inspired both of us with all the things that you've been doing in your community, fighting the legislation, and also just giving additional kind of resources and stuff that people help people kind of learn, which is what we're all about, learning.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate that.
Austin's been like a perfect place for someone as fierce as you. Like they need people like you to be fighting. You want to talk a little bit about I don't know, what your involvement down there?
Yeah. I think yes, we do need fierce people here in Texas, especially showing up in the Capitol. And we have people who like I'm fortunate to be here in Austin, but we have people who come from all over the state to testify at the Capitol, to speak to legislators, to be heard. I think most people know in Texas there's a lot of really scary legislation. They truly are. This past week was the first day for bill filing for the 2023 legislative session. In Texas, we have leg sessions every other year. So this year there wasn't one, but we did have everything going on with our attorney general and our governor released an opinion. Like it wasn't even a law or anything. I think they knew that it wouldn't pass through the typical legislative process, so they released just this opinion that parents of trans and gender nonconforming kids who provide them with gender affirming care, basically parents who love their kids and give them what they need, should be investigated by DFPS for child abuse. And so the LGBTQ orgs here, didn't really get the break that they were expecting. After last year, we had the regular leg session and then 3 special sessions after that. So it really was all year that fight was going on, and then this year there was more. And now everyone's gearing up for this coming ledge session. So this past week, like I said, was bill filing for the upcoming session, and there have already been 17 anti-LGBTQ bills filed, and one of them is essentially just making trans people illegal. It's saying that no, if passed, that no one, like if there's a venue where someone is performing who does not present as their sex assigned at birth, that no minors can be allowed into that venue. Which, like, they're saying it's against kids going to drag shows, but it really is trying to outlaw, just trans performers in general.
Yeah.
So, we're wondering, like, what does that mean for trans educators if you're saying that essentially kids cannot be around people who present as a different gender than the sex they were assigned at birth.
Which is so subjective and such a strange way of putting it. Like,
yes,
okay, so we want Stepford Wives or something. Like, we want it to be like this very set way of looking.
This, like, it really it affects cis people as well. Like, if you're a man who paints their fingernails, or you're a woman with short hair, like, is that going to be judged as presenting differently? And the people who are trying to pass this legislation aren't just going to accept self-disclosure of who is trans and who is not. So it would involve, like, being very invasive, just like the trans sports bills that out of in our 2021 ledge session, this was a big loss, but out of hundreds of bills that were written and came through the legislature, the one that passed was outlawing trans kids in sports, participating on the team that matches their gender. But we fought really hard. Our organizations fought really hard. Our advocates and activists, it's really hard. It's hard for me, but it's so much harder for our trans community, who has to show up over and over again to testify for their right to exist.
Yeah.
And that's why it's really important right now for cis people to show up, because it's not sustainable to expect the people who are experiencing the marginalization to be the people who are fighting. We need to step up so that they can take a step back and recharge and exist and experience joy and not get burned out and beat down.
Yeah.
Yeah, real piece of shit, that Greg Abbott. In the comments, we got Skramsky sounding off, because he's also in a different part of Texas. He's in San Antonio, also very much involved in activism on his own behalf. So I guess Abbott can just call special session after special session when he doesn't get what he wants, and that fucked. So all the more reason for everybody to be showing up, especially cis people that can show their solidarity.
What do you think is like, in your opinion, what do you think is like the sort of biggest action that somebody going to those sessions, like what did you notice like was working the best,
Good question.
if anything?
Honestly, it's being more involved in going to these hearings has been really eye-opening over it's all arbitrary bullshit. And can I say bullshit?
Yeah.
It's all arbitrary bullshit. Like in a hearing with like it's usually committee hearings that where there's public testimony. So I believe that I've blocked the last session largely out of my mind because it was awful, but I believe that the sports bill was going through the public education committee. So we show up at that committee hearing, and with tons of medical experts, trans individuals, trans children, families of trans kids, doctors, like civil rights attorneys showing up and being the majority of the people testifying against this bill. The people on that committee are still voting to pass it because that's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
So showing up with facts, and like the emotions don't seem to matter, of like, hey, this is how this affects my life. Like I grew up as a queer person who is not accepted, and this is how it affects me, and this is how what you're doing here is going to affect children now. It doesn't matter. I think showing up with facts also doesn't necessarily matter, but it can maybe sway someone a little bit. One of the biggest things is putting information out there that could affect amendments that are put into the bill, which once a bill gets to the House or Senate floor, then the people who are, in this case, are progressive representatives who are trying to fight the bill will attempt to put in amendments to make it less harmful. So for example, the sports bill, some amendments that they were trying to put in was that, coaches cannot ask that kids on their team strip to show them their genitals.
Yeah.
And things like that. So that's something that can be influenced. And just showing up in mass, in numbers. It wasn't the the legislature, but for the DFPS things that were going on this year, our community showed up in large numbers for all of those hearings, and I really do believe were heard. As far as I know, as far has been reported at this point, there haven't been any removals for kids who are trans receiving gender affirming care from their families. It's been a small number of families that have actually been investigated, but I know those families have been largely traumatized.
Oh, hell yeah.
By just experiencing that, having fear of being separated. And there's a lot of families here who, rightfully are fleeing our state as like political refugees because it's not safe for them to be here. We're losing a lot of friends from our community,
Yeah.
who, and I support anyone who feels that they need to get out of here to be safe, for their family to be safe, to not live in fear of their safety in their home.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's some bullshit. And I understand what you're saying about how you can show up with feelings or you can show up with facts, but even like the facts sometimes don't matter because like you've got some hard right, even radicalized individuals that are so steeped in misinformation, they'll just be like, well, we have this group of doctors that says this, refuting what like the American Medical Association is saying. And you're like, well, who are your group of doctors? Can we see which doctors you're talking about? Like, and they're like, well, it's just, this is a group of doctors that we have. And they can't even tell you who those doctors are, like in some cases, because it's just this like indoctrination, sorry, terrible word, but like there's this difficulty in kind of trying to get people to use logic, or like they have to almost hear themselves say these just atrocious things and be like, wait, the coach has to check out the kids' genitals, like they have to like hear themselves say it out loud or something. And even then, sometimes they're just like oblivious to the damaging nature of all of this. It's infuriating. So I can't imagine having to sit through one of those ledge sessions. And
yeah, well, they were going really, really like all night long and all day and all night. Yeah.
At the last public education interim charge hearing that I testified at was September. And so interim charge hearings are, again, like even when we're not in session, there's so much that needs to be done. So interim charge hearings are, the governor gives the committees like, hey, these are things that you need to, be ready to legislate in the session. So they have hearings to kind of hear testimony, like what are people thinking and feeling about this topic, as they go in and start to think about what bills they're going to write and hope to pass in the upcoming session. So this most recent interim charge hearing was on the pandemic effect on teacher workforce, which I'm sure y'all know that there's a mass teacher shortage right now, which is, and it's not a teacher shortage. There's plenty of teachers who want to teach. It's a pay shortage, a respect shortage,
Yeah.
positive working conditions shortage, which, not having enough people is making it harder for those of us who are still teaching to keep doing it, because we end up covering for the vacancies that are there. So that's what the most recent interim charge hearing was on. And I think for that one, I testified around midnight. And that's pretty typical. I testified around midnight and then had to go work the next day.
Yeah.
damn.
So they make it really difficult to have your voice heard. But you can also, if you're not able to show up, you can submit written testimony. You can call. These are all important ways. It's just more, if you're able to, it's more impactful to show up and have a face and say, hey, I'm here. I'm one of your constituents. You work for me.
Yeah.
But if you're not able to show up in person, that doesn't mean that you should, fully disengage, because there's definitely ways to get involved. Share the information. contact your representatives through phone, through email, through written testimony. In our legislature here, you can drop a card. So like if you on your lunch break can run to the Capitol and fill out a card that's I'm in favor of this bill, and then drop it in a box to just be a voice to show up one way or the other. And so there's lots of ways to make your voice heard. I think we talk a lot about like, I don't know, armchair activists who just like post on social media, but honestly, it's so important. And it's one of the best ways to make people in your network aware of things that are going on. Like, I think eventually I'm going to pause and let you respond. I just have a lot of thoughts and feelings.
No, I love that. I do. Yeah, I think like people with the armchair activism, people are in their own bubble on social media I mean, you don't even have that much control over it anymore because of the algorithm. But like, if you're in there and you can like put something out that they might not necessarily see otherwise, it's a big deal.
Well, people have multitudes, right? So like people in your network of social media contacts, like you think, like a pretty good idea of what they're like, but then there's all these like niche pieces of individuals that like you might not expect. So they may never have like encountered a news story or, a perspective that you're sharing, maybe just on your stories or whatever. And, you could always take that extra step and, make a TikTok talking about that thing to provoke further thought and conversation. I see a lot of people do that. And the most important thing I want to underline about that, it's not worthless. It's not pointless. It absolutely matters. Each and every little bit of like amplifying the voice of people that are getting fucked with the most, you bet your ass that is 100% a plus in the bucket that can just at least cancel out one of the shitty things. It's not always a one-to-one thing, but and the frustration that you likely deal with, okay, the feelings didn't work, the facts didn't work, this committee's already decided what they're going to do. Like, to me, that sounds like we need to get people into that committee with different ideas, right? But that's like the long play, and that takes a lot of energy and endurance to work towards those long goals, right?
That's people, you'll hear people say here that Texas is not a red state, it's a voter suppression state. Because if you look at our congressional districts, it's just gerrymandered to hell to keep the people in power. And like if you look at the numbers, like we have progressives in Texas, which is why it's frustrating when after our elections, we just had the midterm election that happened a few weeks ago, or last week. Was that last week?
Yes. It does seem like way longer ago.
Yes. Last week, we had some wins across the board, but we had our big three, our attorney general, our lieutenant governor, and our governor all stayed when they're awful.
And that garbage human Ted Cruz, awful.
So all of you'll see on social media, like let's just get rid of Texas, get rid of Florida, but like we have so many people here who are fighting fiercely for better things. And, people will say also like, get out of that state. And like I said, lots of people are for their safety. But there's a lot of people who don't have the privilege to leave, and are experiencing that marginalization. And at this point in time, I'm not interested in abandoning the people we need to fight for. And it's a fight that we have to keep up until we win it, and we're going to. But as we know historically, these fights are brutal,
Yeah.
and we got to keep it up.
Yeah.
Well, I don't call Lisa fierce for nothing, or for just going down to the Capitol, or for being in those classrooms and making education accessible to the deaf community. I also call you fierce because, you know, you've worked on a whole education package, curriculum, presentation that I'd like maybe you to talk a little bit about. That, like, you're definitely not looking at the situation and going, oh shit, what can I do? You're going, well, at least I can do this. I'm going to make these slides. I'm going to put some very good information that will be helpful and hopefully transformative to my community. I'm going to put that together in a way that people can learn. You want to talk about what you've been doing there?
Yeah. One of my colleagues and I, last school year, we're getting just a lot of people coming to us saying, hey, I have this student who's gender nonconforming. I have this student who's trans. And I want to note that this is elementary school. Like, I think a lot of people are like, kids don't know when they're that young. They don't know anything. But there's kids in elementary school who are saying, like, this is who I am. This is what I need from you. And so there were people, coworkers coming to us with like, hey, what do I do about this? How do I support this student? And so we decided to just put together a presentation for our campus on gender literacy and just kind of, you know, basic 101 things that people wanted to know. And then like it started like the wife of one of our coworkers is an instructional coach on another campus, so asked us to go there. We presented with organization I work with, who I want to drop a plug for. Educators in Solidarity is an Austin area anti-racist educator organization. educatorsinsolidarity.com. If you want to support our work. This org has existed since 2014, was formed after the murder of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, when there was kind of a call out to educators to address racism in their classrooms. And so a group of educators came together to form this organization. Been through a lot of growth and transformation, and do a lot of advocacy and host conferences. So we presented our training at one of the Educators in Solidarity conferences. And that brings us to the fight that we're currently in, where we were asked to bring our training to our school district for their district-wide summer professional development. And some right-wing parent groups got wind of it. And like there was an open records request made for our presentation. There was an open records request made for all of my work emails for the past 2 years. And like I've been targeted. There's articles about how I support children genital mutilation. So a whole lot of backlash against just, hey, gender nonconforming and trans kids exist in your classrooms, and here's how to support them. Is all our training says. So our equity department, which is run by a white cisgender heterosexual woman who is interested in upholding white supremacy and keeping these right-wing parent groups happy rather than supporting educational equity for all of our students, which should be her job. She's my arch nemesis, if anyone asks me.
Yes. That's a good reason.
This woman is my arch nemesis. So she worked with the district's legal team, and they gutted our training. They took so much content out that we had to put a lot of work into reworking it so that there was any content at all. And then a week before the training, they canceled it. So they're telling us that they want us to present in January. They're still working with the legal team. I'm not very hopeful that it's going to happen. So that's going on. I'm continuing that fight. But honestly, a lot of it is just, if we're not able to do that presentation widely, just having conversations with colleagues and, for my co-presenter and I, who he's trans and I'm non-binary, just like existing in our space visibly and authentically is huge. And I don't know. I'm gonna let you say something so I can get a drink of water.
I think the fact that you're continuing the fight says everything about the kind of person you are and why the work you're doing is genuine and authentic and affecting people. Like, it might feel like there's not a lot of wins happening, but I want you to know that we know that everything you do, even for all the bullshit you're having to deal with, you're making a positive impact in your community. So thank you for continuing to do that.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. It's hard when you don't see wins on the regular.
Right.
But, we have to remember that this is the long fight. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. That's why we have to, prioritize where we need to show up and where we need to step back and recharge and take care of ourselves, take care of our community, make sure that everyone is up for the marathon.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I know that we're kind of past time, but if you can stay, I don't know if you can stay.
Yeah, I have nowhere to be.
Okay. Do we want to just maybe talk a little bit about like the pros and cons of 988?
Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be fun too. And I'd also like to ask some lightning round questions that are a little more fun.
Okay.
Is talking about 988 fun?
Yeah.
So 988 and other lifelines we've had some discussion about, but we also we thought it'd be cool to talk about it with you because you I think laid out some really important things to consider about hotlines in general and about crisis response in our country. I know from my own experience, it's not a great system when you're in crisis and you have needs and you're just like, well, this isn't really like helping me right now. I'm very overwhelmed because emergency rooms are often where we go when we're in crisis.
And when 988 sort of
first came online.
when it first came on, social media there were a lot of people. There's a lot of back and forth about like, oh, this is awesome versus like it's not.
This is the devil. This is awesome.
Yeah, this
Basically,
is not
everywhere
gonna help. So Yeah.
Yeah, like what do you think?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of nuance in the conversation. I'm not like anti crisis line. I have used crisis lines in a variety of ways, and it's helped me. And so I'm not going to tell anyone not to utilize that. But also, people need to be aware that of the risks associated. Like if the person you're talking to determines that you are unsafe, they're going to dispatch first responders to your house. There will be cops at your house, and that's not safe for everyone. So just being aware that that's a reality. I know that there's some places that have actual mental health response teams.
Yeah, we have that in Chicago, but
Not enough of it. Not enough to go around.
yeah, like we have it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's what you will get.
Right.
They still have to be available.
I was so after I had a surgery this summer, and following that, like as a direct result of the surgery, I had like mental health crisis, and ended up having to call 911 a couple times because it was pre 988. But call 911 a couple times, and cops came out. One of the times they connected me with a mental health crisis line, and they said we're going to send a crisis team. The crisis team was just a cop with khakis. Like it was
sorry, that's a lot, but like
yeah, I don't know why that was so funny to me, but continue.
He still had a gun, and like it was a cop, just who had had a little bit more mental health training, but at no point, when I'm overwhelmed in a mental health crisis, in one of those situations, it's common for me to go nonverbal, and none of the like mental health trained cops who came out had any like knowledge of how to respond to that. Which like it's common for me, but it's fairly common across the board that for people to experience that as a symptom. And I know that at least one of the cops who was here read that as defiance. And for me, like I'm pretty non-threatening looking, as perceived by most people, perceived by cops. I don't look threatening, but if I looked different, it's very possible that being perceived as defiant could have been really unsafe.
Yeah.
So there's that. Going to the emergency room is, in all of my experiences with mental health crisis, has been traumatic. Texas allergies, y'all, is real. Like I never had allergies till I moved here, and now there's no allergy season. It's just constant.
Ugh.
But yeah, emergency rooms overstimulating, can be traumatic, lots going on, and a lot of people not really able to give you the attention or like the time that you need to explain yourself sometimes. And
so I did find out after my most recent ER visit for mental health reasons that there's inpatient psychiatric hospitals where you can show up there for an intake assessment 24 hours instead of the emergency room, and that's going to be less traumatic.
Yeah.
So I really my kind of alternative to a crisis line and preventing a situation where you're having to go to the emergency room or have cops show up at your house is if you're someone who experiences suicidal ideation or self-harm urges or just mental health needs at all, honestly, it's not a bad idea for everyone to think about safety planning in the event that you are in a mental health crisis. Like, have the names of some people who you can reach out to, have the names of some people who are close by who, if you're alone, can come be with you, because that's a big way to stay safe, is just have someone who's with you who can help keep you safe, who can hold on to dangerous items for you.
Yeah.
Have things that help you stay grounded and regulate yourself. Because when you're in a place that you're not doing well, it's kind of hard to access those cognitively. Like, oh, here's something I know helps me feel better. So having just a list that you can go to, here's my people, here's my strategies, and a reminder that you can go to that inpatient hospital instead of 911, instead of the ER. That there are other options to help you stay safe besides going to a situation that may or may not be safe and helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you identify as part of a certain community, you can look up different crisis lines. There are some pretty good ones as far as intersections go.
Yeah.
And you can refer to the Hope for Us network for a whole bunch of those just posted this week. So you want to do some lightning questions and
Sure.
wrap things up?
Yeah.
So you lived in Chicago.
I did.
That's where y'all met. You live in Austin now. You've been to Austin. I've been to Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Let's think about those cities for a second. Favorite food in Chicago? Favorite food you can remember having in Austin? Do you have like difference in favorite food from Austin to Chicago?
Well, what is initially coming to mind is just melted cheese in all forms.
Oh yeah,
I know, same.
love cheese. Love me some cheese. You got any places in Austin as a local that people should make a point to go eat at when visiting?
I feel like I'm scared to say anything because I don't want locals to judge me for.
Oh, okay, fair.
I really love tamales at Curra's.
Okay.
Down on Riverside.
Sweet.
I feel like I need to get Jer.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Do you have a favorite in Chicago that you miss all the time?
I miss Pick Me Up Cafe.
Nice. Classic.
Chicago Diner too, of course, but Pick Me Up is what stays in my mind as like. What
Do you have any foods that stuck out from our visit to Austin?
Just like queso. Like,
yes.
Do you remember the ice cream place that we went when y'all had the girls and
Amy's?
Yeah, and I climbed on the cow.
Yeah.
In their little playground area.
Yeah, Amy's is great. Love Amy's.
Yeah.
And I don't think we had it, but Phil's Ice House is attached to Amy's, and that's some good shit too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite Chicago thing? Like if you weren't here, you would miss? I would miss some fresh Lumanlatis.
Yeah, like pizza, all the types of pizzas.
All the types of pizzas.
I'm a Giordano's bitch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Underrated.
You love Roots too, because they got that Quad Cities.
The Quad City pizza.
Yeah, I think like just pizzas. Like
Boiler Room.
Yeah,
Room
like thin
drinks,
crust,
and
deep dish, Detroit style. Like it's all, they have it all.
All right. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Favorite dinosaur?
favorite dinosaur is probably a shit. What is it? It's the one with a.
With the horn?
Hadrosaur?
With the horn
Or,
coming back there?
Yeah.
Not sure. I don't know. You would know.
I need our most recent kiddo was like, my dinosaur knowledge was like peak when she was here because we watched so much Dino Dana, and so all our books were dinosaurs. There were so many dino toys. Like I knew all the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Parasaurolophus.
Oh yes.
Nice.
Yes. Nice.
It came to me.
Mine's a Triceratops and always has been.
Solid. Solid. I also like that one, but I'll go with a Brontosaurus, like Littlefoot.
Oh.
Good one.
Okay. Favorite craft to do right now? Like it doesn't have to be your favorite craft of all time. What's your favorite craft right now to partake in?
I have just recently gotten into needle felting, and
I seen your little felt creations. They're adorbs.
I'm enjoying that. It's like it's pretty intuitive. I have stabbed myself a number of times.
This time of year, I get back into knitting, and that feels nice. So I'm gonna finish a hat that I've been working on for way too long. Yeah, like it's like cozy. You start doing it when you're chilly, and yeah.
I'm pumped to get back into collage during these winter months ahead because we organized our cabinet a little bit. So like I don't know, I feel like it's a little more manageable, the materials and stuff like that. So
yeah.
I love cutting paper. I don't know why. It's so satisfying.
A lot of my coworkers, this is not me. I will like put this off on anyone else if I can. Like really find laminating and cutting to be like super calming and just like.
Yeah.
That brings me back. That brings me back.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Do you have another one? One more?
Since we were a little tipsy in our earlier segment at Riot Fest, favorite cocktail, favorite fancy little. Oh, I'm going out to have me a drink with my friends to celebrate. You know, whatever.
I mean, back on Texas, I love like a great margarita with my
Margs.
I think like that's something that I consistently want, no matter what.
Do you have like a certain type of margarita? Like, let's hear some specifics. Your dream margarita.
There's a couple places here that have an avocado margarita, so it's like a little bit creamy.
Weird.
You can get a jalapeno margarita.
Damn.
I like just like a house frozen with lime.
Yeah.
Is kind of my go-to. I also like any sort of a whiskey drink.
Nice.
Yeah, we're like the same. I would love to have a nice. It is so cold here, so I would love to have a nice hot toddy with some whiskey later.
Okay, we can do that. We can make that happen. Salt or no salt?
On my marg, salt.
Absolutely salt. Yes.
I like the salt.
Mm-hmm.
I like the salty.
I also love a good mojito.
Yes.
It sounds like margaritas have gotten into like a little martini territory with their like avocados and their spicy pepper. It's almost like a teeny tita.
A martini.
Yes.
Yeah, a martini tita. I don't know.
Minnie's little head.
Do you have any other lightning round questions that you think should be asked?
No, it's a fun game though. I like that.
Yeah. Favorite vegetable? You have a favorite vegetable?
Cucumber.
Broccoli.
Broccoli. I like a mushroom. I know it's a fungus.
Two
though.
things that you said does not
That's
like.
a fungus, yeah.
You need to get out.
Not as a vegetable, or should I say potatoes?
Good
Taters.
cheesy, nothing like a good cheesy potato.
Can we make an au gratin?
Sure.
Oh, I want to make au gratin so bad.
I want a good potato soup.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. So it must be time to eat because that's all I can think about now. So it's so good to have you.
Yeah,
and,
thank you for all the tips and
AC sends his love. He loved it. He had to get going for
He
rehearsal.
had to go to rehearsal.
Because his band is playing real soon. So yeah, maybe when you guys plan your trip for spring, if that all comes together, you'll get to meet AC in person if you've not already. So
I really think I have.
Yeah, there's a good chance you have because he lives in my old spot and is our neighbor and
it's been around.
Probably the person we have over the most. So
yeah.
Well, yeah, thank you so much for sharing all your experience and insight. I think it's just super important and valuable to the network and to anybody out there watching on Twitch. And in future on YouTube or TikTok. So, yeah, thanks again. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day and a great week off to kind of
hell yeah,
just be cozy and stuff.
Thank y'all so much for having me. It's I would love any time to chat with y'all and catch up. I love it. And thanks for listening to what's going on down here and kind of amplifying that message. And good to see y'all.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Same. Thanks for staying for some extra and hanging in there with the
technology. This is kind of our thing is talking for way too long, and
yeah, it's true forever. It's true.
Kind of my vibe.
Well, I love you, and I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, well, and everybody out there, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Oh yeah, that would have been a good lightning question. What's your favorite sign? Do you have a favorite sign to take us out
on? I like avocado.
All right, you put your hand up, left hand up like this.
It's like you're scooping it out.
You're scooping it out. All right, that's avocado, everybody. And with avocado, we'll see you in 2 weeks for the next Tomorrow show on the Hope for Us Network. Scoop it out, everybody. Avocado.
Bye. Love you.